In the quiet living room, the red dot appeared, small, harmless, but powerful enough to awaken the warrior instincts of every cat in the house. Whiskers was the first to notice, crouching low, her tail flicking like a whip, her eyes locked onto the glowing speck that danced across the floor. Shadow, always the strategist, didn't rush in right away. Instead, he studied the dot's movements, waiting for the perfect strike. Meanwhile, Luna, the youngest of the trio, launched herself into the fray with reckless energy, pouncing on the carpet only to find her paws empty. The red dot zipped across the couch, shot up the wall, then darted back down. All three cats scrambled in a frenzy, claws tapping against the hardwood floor, tails swishing like banners in battle. To them, this wasn't just a game, it was a hunt, a test of speed and cunning. At one point, Whiskers managed to pin the dot beneath her paw. She stood tall, triumphant, until the glowing menace slipped right through and darted away, mocking her victory. The others meowed in protest, as if the dot had broken the laws of nature itself. Shadow finally made his move, springing from the arm of the couch with the grace of a panther. He nearly caught it so close that Luna froze mid-leap in awe. But again, the red dot vanished, reappearing behind them like a sly opponent. After what felt like hours of chaos, the cats collapsed in a heap, their chests rising and falling as they panted. The dot disappeared, swallowed by the shadows of the room. To any human watching, it was just a laser pointer turned off. But to the cats, it was something far more. A cunning adversary, undefeated, waiting in silence until the next battle began. The silence after the battle was short-lived. Luna's ears twitched as if she could still hear the faint hum of the glowing enemy. She darted her eyes around the room, convinced the dot was lurking, waiting for its next ambush. Whiskers stretched, pretending to be unbothered, but the way her tail flicked betrayed her frustration. She hated losing, especially to something so small and slippery. She marched up to Shadow, giving him a swat on the ear, as if to blame him for their failure. Shadow, calm as ever, licked his paw and smoothed his fur, acting like he had never been bested. Deep down, though, his mind was already plotting tactics for the rematch. He would need patience, timing, and maybe even teamwork, though convincing the others of that would be a challenge. Just then, the red dot returned, flickering across the floor like a mischievous spirit. Luna shrieked an excited meow and sprang into action, knocking over a plant in the process. Soil scattered across the rug, but no one cared. The hunt was on again. This time, all three cats seemed to move as one. Whiskers chased with brute force, Shadow stalked with precision, and Luna leaped wildly in every direction. They cornered the dot against the wall. Surely victory was theirs. But the red enemy had no rules. It zipped through the wall of their understanding, bouncing across the ceiling as if defying gravity. The cats froze, necks craning upward, their eyes wide with disbelief. In that moment, the red dot wasn't just a rival. It was a legend, a mysterious force that no paw could capture. And yet, despite every failed attempt, the cats knew one thing for certain. The battle would never truly end. The living room had become their arena, and as long as the glowing foe returned, they would rise again, furry gladiators locked in an eternal war against the uncatchable dot. The next morning, the living room was still a battlefield. Potted plants toppled, throw pillows scattered, and tiny claw marks etched across the couch. Whiskers sat like a general surveying the ruins, while Luna pawed at the carpet, as if checking for any lingering traces of their glowing nemesis. Shadow, ever mysterious, lounged on the windowsill, watching the sun rise with narrowed eyes. Then it happened, the faint click. The sound they had learned to fear and love. All three cats' ears shot up at once, their pupils dilated. Then there it was, the red dot. It darted across the floor faster than ever, as if mocking their exhaustion. Luna squealed with excitement and launched into another reckless chase. Whiskers followed with laser-like focus, her paws moving in perfect rhythm. Shadow descended from the windowsill, gliding silently before striking with military precision. But something was different this time. The dot wasn't just playing it, was taunting, zigzagged under the couch, raced up the curtains, and danced in figure eights around their paws. It was smarter, quicker, crueler. Cats grew more desperate, colliding with each other, tumbling in a heap, tails tangled in their frenzy, and then the truth was revealed. The dot paused on the wall, unmoving, almost smug. The cats froze, stunned by the sudden stillness. Slowly, their eyes followed the invisible beam back across the room and landed on the true mastermind. There sat the human, smirking, holding a small silver device in their hand. The cat's jaws dropped, or at least that's how it looked. They exchanged wide-eyed glances, realizing in horror that their greatest enemy had a puppet master. For a heartbeat, the room went still. Then Whiskers hissed, Luna yowled in outrage, and Shadow let out a low, rumbling growl. The betrayal stung. Their battles had indeed been against a mystical of light. It had been a cruel game all along. But cats are not creatures who surrender. Gasped slowly, deliberately. Whiskers turned her gaze from the red dot to the hand holding the device. Luna crouched low, tail swishing. Shadow's eyes gleamed with dark intent. If the human thought they had won, they were wrong. The cats had a new enemy now. The shift in the room was instant. The red dot flickered across the carpet again, but none of the cats moved. Instead, 3 pairs of glowing eyes locked onto the human, their so-called ally. The human chuckled, waving the laser pointer across the wall as if nothing had changed. But the cats were no longer fooled. Whiskers sat tall, her tail thumping against the floor like a drum of war. Shadow crept lower, his belly brushing the rug, every step silent and deliberate. Luna, brimming with energy, trembled with anticipation. The first strike came swift. Whiskers leapt onto the coffee table, knocking over a mug of pens that clattered to the ground. The human gasped, startled, and turned to grab the mess exactly as Shadow had predicted. From behind, Luna launched herself at the couch cushion, claws digging in with a battle cry that echoed like a kitten's squeak. The human tried to laugh it off, but Shadow made his move, springing onto the armrest and lunging toward the hand that held the device. The laser pointer clattered to the floor, sliding under the couch. The red dot blinked away. Silence fell. The cats surrounded their human, tails flicking like sabers. Their plan had worked. The source of their torment had been disarmed. The human sat frozen, wide-eyed, as if caught in the middle of a feline coup. Whiskers batted the fallen pointer with a paw, dragging it into the circle like captured treasure. Luna pounced on it triumphantly, meowing as if announcing victory to the entire world. Shadow simply sat back, his expression calm, his mission complete. The humans sighed, raising their hands in mock surrender. "All right, you win," they muttered, defeated. For the cats, it wasn't just a win. It was justice. They had uncovered the truth, exposed the trickster, and reclaimed their pride. Yet deep inside, each of them knew something terrifying. Without the red dot, their days might grow boring. And so, after a long pause, Whiskers gently nudged the pointer back toward the human with her paw. The message was clear: continue the game, but on our terms.